You know, when you talk about pure, raw talent in Indian cricket, a few names just pop right into your head. But there's this one name, and whenever it comes up, there's always a little pause. It's a moment filled with questions, what-ifs, and just a ton of expectation.
So what is it about this one guy that makes everyone stop and think for a second? What's really behind that pause? Well, let's get into it.
The name is Sanju Samson, and let me tell you, his story, it's about so much more than just cricket.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. We're talking about this undeniable promise he showed and the questions that kind of seem to follow him right from day one.
Okay, so Samson's origin story is pretty cool. He's from Kerala, which, let's be honest, isn't exactly known as a cricket factory. But from the moment he stepped on the field, you could just tell he was different. He had these elegant shots, these super calm eyes, and he played without a hint of fear. And then, at just 18 years old, he absolutely burst onto the scene in the IPL.
And look, this wasn't just a flash in the pan. Everybody was saying it, commentators, experts, you name it. The whole cricket world was looking at him thinking, yep, that's a future superstar. But as we all know too well, talent isn't always the whole story.
And this brings us to what was probably the toughest part of his journey, a period that would really define his career for years. We're calling it the long wait.
This slide just perfectly captures the frustrating loop he was stuck in. For years, he'd be in the national team, then out. He'd get maybe one game, a tiny little opportunity to show what he could do, and bam, he'd be dropped. No consistent run of games to get his footing. Just a brief chance, followed by a long, long silence.
And this became the question everyone was asking, especially his fans. Every single time he'd smash it in the IPL, social media would just erupt with this. It came from a place of belief for sure, but man, can you imagine the pressure that adds?
But here's the other side of that coin. Every time he failed, this is what he'd hear. The critics would jump on him, he's overrated, he's inconsistent, he can't handle the big moments. So he was getting crushed from both sides, from the people who expected him to be perfect and from the people who thought he was nothing special.
So he was basically fighting two different battles here. On the left, you've got all that public noise, the tweets, the expert doubts, the endless questions. But his response? That's on the right. It was quiet, it was private. While the world was talking, he was training. While the critics were doubting, he was in the nets, practicing. While everyone else was asking why, he was preparing.
And that, right there, that brings us to the real turning point in his story. The comeback he was about to make, it wasn't about his physical skills, it was all happening in his head. In a few interviews, Samson kind of broke down his new mindset. And it really came down to these three simple but super powerful steps. He made a conscious choice to just tune out all the noise, to stop looking for approval from anyone else, and instead to pour every single bit of his energy into just one thing, getting better himself.
And this is the absolute core of his lesson, isn't it? What separates the good from the truly great isn't always more talent. It's that mental toughness, that ability to just put your head down and work, especially when it feels like everyone is talking about you.
So, after all that silent work and that complete mental shift, what actually happened? Well, let's get to the payoff. This part is all about how patience creates power.
This phrase just nails it. It perfectly captures his whole transformation. The power he found wasn't loud or flashy. It was this quiet, deep strength that he built up over years of patient, unseen effort.
And the results on the field, they were night and day. He started playing these huge match-winning knocks and doing it consistently. He became the guy who could finish a game under intense pressure. As a captain, you could see this incredible new maturity. And it all came from a place of pure, quiet confidence that you just couldn't argue with.
So what does his story really teach all of us? Because let's be real, this is not just about cricket. This is a lesson from a silent warrior that applies to, well, everything.
I want to talk directly to you for a second. If you have ever felt overlooked at your job, maybe underappreciated for what you do, or if you just feel like the world has kind of forgotten about your talent,
Then remember this: work in silence, let your results make all the noise for you.
Don't get caught up in trying to make some huge leap overnight. Just focus on the small things. Just try to improve every single day.
You've got to trust your own journey. Real growth takes time, so stay patient.
because that opportunity, that moment you have been grinding for in the dark, it will come. It always does. And when it finally shows up, all that silent work, all that patience is going to make sure you're more than ready.
Make sure that when your time comes, you are absolutely unstoppable.
So let's end on this one last thought. A setback is just one chapter in your book. It is not your whole story. Your job is to focus on writing a comeback so powerful that it completely changes the entire narrative.